Welcome, guys, to How the Frack We Got Here, a show that takes the news and events of the week and try to make sense out of it all. I'm your host and most, Will Buchanan, and on this show, we simply are all about the facts. There are plenty of news stations out there that simply want to do anything short but inform you. Here at How the Frack We Got Here, that's all we believe in. We go up to the left, we go up to the right, we go up to the middle of independence. We go up to all sides because there's more than one side of a story to everything. And you need to know it all in order to actually formulate your own opinion. And that's what we try to do here at How the Frack We Got Here. Thanks for listening, and hold on. It's going to be fun. Welcome, guys, to How the Frack We Got Here, a show that takes the news and events of the week and try to make sense out of it all. I'm your host and most, Will Buchanan, and on this show, we simply are all about the facts. There are plenty of news stations out there that simply want to do anything short but inform you. Here at How the Frack We Got Here, that's all we believe in. We go up to the left, we go up to the right, we go up to the middle of independence. We go up to all sides because there's more than one side of a story to everything. And you need to know it all in order to actually formulate your own opinion. And that's what we try to do here at How the Frack We Got Here. Thanks for listening, and hold on. It's going to be fun.
All right, good morning, guys. Today's date, May 15th, 2021, and this is How the Frack We Got Here. I'm your host and most, Will Buchanan. On How the Frack We Got Here, we do take the events of the week and try to make sense of it all. Before I do get started, I did this there and say this is a family-friendly podcast, although sometimes my words do slip. And yes, there may be some things that we might be showing today that may be of a graphic nature, so viewer discretion is advised. Aside from that, welcome. So, let's go ahead and get into it, guys. Let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room because there is no other way we can say this. The world might be slightly opening up.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us as we near the end of another week together, and we begin tonight with this new chapter and the new confusion tonight. 24 hours after the CDC's new guidance on masks for vaccinated Americans, saying they are no longer required indoors or outdoors, with few exceptions, buses, planes, healthcare settings. Tonight, at least 18 states already lifting their mask mandates. But there are many businesses across the country still concerned, still hoping customers will wear masks. Some grocery stores among them saying, how do their frontline workers know if the customers standing right in front of them have been vaccinated or not? Tonight, the map, those 18 states moving forward with the new guidance, no masks for vaccinated Americans. California and New York, though, among those taking no official action yet. Many businesses still deciding what they'll do. Kroger, for one, saying they will keep the mask mandate. Target and Home Depot doing the same. But Walmart tonight saying they'll drop the masks. Trader Joe's was the first major grocery store to drop the mask mandate today, as long as shoppers are vaccinated. But again, the question for many, how do you know? Tonight, the numbers here, 155 million people have received at least one dose. It's more than 55% of Americans 12 and older. And tonight, we're learning more about the Yankees. 8 people, coaches, staff, a player, all coming down with the virus. All of them say they were vaccinated. And health officials continue to warn tonight that if you're not vaccinated, to wear the mask. ABC's Whit Johnson leading us off tonight.
Tonight, Americans scrambling to navigate the new norm. Just a day after the CDC said if you're fully vaccinated, in most cases, it's okay to ditch the mask.
It feels good. I mean, it definitely takes some getting used to. The anxiety surrounding leaving your house.
So you still do feel the anxiety?
Oh yeah, totally. It's been a whole year.
The dominoes falling in less than 24 hours. At least 18 states already changing their mask mandates immediately following the new CDC guidance.
To be able to walk around without masks and get a sense of fresh air, see people smiling again.
Even in Michigan, where just last month hospitals were overwhelmed with COVID patients.
And after months of getting out the damn vaccines, the data is clear. The COVID-19 vaccines are a miracle of modern science.
But across the country, business owners caught off guard.
Can I get your order for you?
Thanks. And many are playing it safe.
For me and for the customers that come here, I'd still like them to wear a mask until we know what the guidance is.
Big chains like Target, Kroger, Home Depot, and Starbucks are keeping their mask rules too. Tom Ryan carries his vaccination card with him.
I just carry it just in case.
In case of what?
Somebody wants to know.
But with no proof required, an honor system now raises new challenges. 64% of the U.S. population is still not fully vaccinated.
If you are vaccinated and you are making the decision to take off your mask, then you've made the decision to get vaccinated and you are safe. If you are unvaccinated, then you have made the decision to take that risk.
But there is pushback. The union, representing retail and grocery store employees, says the new mask guidance is confusing and could force essential workers to become the vaccination police.
I've been doing this for a year and a half. We've all been wearing the mask, and it's better to be safe than sorry.
Some parents concerned too. Valerie Blankenship worries the mask guidelines were lifted too soon. She's vaccinated, but her 9-year-old son, who is immunocompromised, is not.
With people not wearing the masks anymore, we're not going to know who's vaccinated, who's not. And it's just everybody just needs to be extremely careful and use common sense and think of others.
And in New York tonight, health officials are investigating a cluster of possible rare breakthrough infections among 8 members of the Yankees. According to the team, all received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, and the infections are mild or asymptomatic.
Really puzzling case there. Whit joins us with us tonight. The CDC repeatedly pointing to science in the last 24 hours, Whit, as we know, to the new research that the vaccines work against the variants. They also reduce the risk of transmission from those who are vaccinated significantly. And tonight there's another critical study just out on the strength of the vaccines.
David, this is the largest real-world study in the U.S., 500,000 healthcare workers involved, and it confirmed what we saw in earlier findings, that the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines are 94% effective at preventing symptomatic illness after 2 doses, 82% effective among those who are partially vaccinated. The CDC director calling this study pivotal in their decision on masks.
Okay, so from the looks of things, and I'm gonna be one of those guys that's gonna be like, see, guys and people have already started. See, Will, the CDC has already sat there and said you can lift your mask. You don't gotta wear a mask, Will, if you're fully vaccinated. Yeah, I've heard that already. Look, guys, I am not one to go get the CDC. I have been saying this entire time, the CDC, the National Health Institute, Doctors Without Borders, the World Health Organization, follow them all, because again, that's what we went off of since this whole pandemic started. Now, again, the CDC is confident that, if you are fully vaccinated, that you can go anywhere and without wearing your mask. I agree with that too, and I agree with that, but the problem is you are trusting the honor system at this point. With individuals out there who may or may not have not been vaccinated. So you have to understand, I can understand why people are still sitting there saying why they still want to wear a mask, why they still want to be safe. And I'm one of those people. Like I said, I work out. I mean, if you follow my Facebook, or Instagram, you know I work out. And let's be honest, unless I'm going to trust everybody in said gym that got vaccinated, then on top of that, I still wear a mask. I may have it off if I'm in an area that I'm by myself in, but if I'm in an area where, people are starting to get in, it's a little crowded, I put it back on. Again, this is just, even though I'm fully vaccinated, I've actually gotten the Moderna shots, but again, it's always this unsettling feeling, and I've always sat there and said this, that we still need to be proactive. We still need to be on the preventative side. And yes, if it means that you're acting a little paranoid, then again, it's not wrong to think that, because we are kind of at this point going off on the honor system, if you will, which again is a little concerning, just because you don't know who's vaccinated, who's not. And trust me, there are plenty of people out there who are still not vaccinated. I mean, you saw the statistics. Even though we're 55% of us may have gotten our vaccinations, that's still a smaller number than the amount of people who haven't gotten their shots yet, or who may not get their shots yet. I mean, that's a whole nother situation. Like I said, I want to discuss one day, of people not wanting to get the shot, because I keep saying this all the time. If you don't get the shot, what's your alternative? Because if you say herd immunity, it's not going to work well in your favor. I'm just going to be honest about that. But again, with states opening up, and trust me, Nashville has already opened up. I understand that my city that I love so much is a tourist attraction. They couldn't wait to open up, sitting there saying they're lifting a mask mandate, which I find funny because the governor never put in a mask mandate. But again, they are in this process of wanting to. Everybody's so quick to get back to normal, but again, there's nothing wrong with still being proactive. Even today, when I go out after this podcast is over, I'll still have my mask on me. And it's only because, like I said before, again, we're trusting the honor system, and it's not always going to be feasible for that to happen. So I would say this going forward, as that number of vaccinated individuals increase, we hope, it's just really best at this point that we just be proactive. We pretend like the virus is still going strong, even though there are variants out there, even though people who have had the vaccine are still getting COVID. Again, we still need to be vigilant. We still need to be proactive. Unless you're 100% sure of the people around you, there is no harm in still keeping a mask. Really isn't. But moving right along, guys, as far as that goes, next story that we have, which again I find it interesting, because in the saga of the Republican Party, because they're in the news a lot these days, specifically for ousting Liz Cheney because she decided to go against the grain and impeach Donald Trump. And let's be honest, Donald Trump still runs the Republican Party for reasons beyond my comprehension. Let's get to Matt Gaetz, as that saga may be wrapping up because a canary may be singing.
Just to get a plea deal, what would Greenberg have to offer?
Greenberg has to tell federal prosecutors everything he knows about anything Joel Greenberg, has ever done wrong, and anything he knows about anything that anybody else has done wrong. And that's why, Anna, this is about the worst possible news for Matt Gaetz. This has to be the one thing that he and his legal team were most worried about, because as a federal prosecutor, I cooperated more people than I could even count. And there are two things you have to be sure of before you cooperate with somebody, especially somebody like Joel Greenberg. One, do you believe them? Can you back up what they say? And two, are you going to make use of their information? And that means to charge other people to make other cases.
So explain how cooperation works in a case like this, because we know Joel Greenberg was facing at least 33 federal charges. I just wonder, would he have even been offered some kind of a deal if there wasn't a bigger target?
So it's a deal. It's a transactional interaction. So the way it starts is prosecutors presumably at this point have already done this with Joel Greenberg. You say to somebody like Joel Greenberg, if you're going to cooperate, you need to tell us everything. Start back when you were in grade school and stole a candy bar from the store, and we will take it from there. And then everything Joel Greenberg tells you, you go out and try to back up. If he tells you there was a financial transaction, okay, where are the records of that? If he tells you there was an email, okay, show us those emails. So it is an all-encompassing, all-consuming process. In return, if Joel Greenberg cooperates successfully, and if he helps federal prosecutors make cases against other people and testify, then he can get what we call a 5K letter, which is basically a letter from the prosecutor at the very end saying, hey, judge, this person gave us valuable cooperation. And typically that results in a significant sentencing reduction.
So would he already likely be talking to investigators, or would his cooperation not begin until after he enters his plea on Monday?
He absolutely would have already been speaking with federal prosecutors. You don't sign somebody up like Joel Greenberg as a cooperator just on a hunch or on good faith. They have, in all likelihood, in my experience, the only time I ever signed someone up as a cooperator is after I had spent days, weeks in a conference room with them, poring over every detail of their story to the point where I, as a prosecutor, was satisfied. I can bank on this. I can back this up. Now, the cooperation will continue. They will presumably spend many more days with him preparing for other indictments, preparing for trial. So
in other words, somebody's singing. For all those that don't remember, Matt Gaetz is one of the other Republicans who was also a huge Trump supporter that turned around and sat there and was found, allegedly, because we can't say, even though there's obviously huge allegations for this, that Matt Gaetz was found, having sex with possibly underage girls, having drug-filled parties with underage women and other influential people, and now his close confidant is now turning state's evidence. Now, what does that mean? For anybody that ever follows anything or has ever watched an episode of Law & Order, when someone turns state's evidence or when someone turns in a guilty plea and works with the prosecutors, that means, my friend, that he knows a lot more than what certain parties may not want to be allowed to be heard. In this case, it's happening with Gaetz. Again, this is still all allegations, but this is the Republican Party, the party of family values that they love so much. And I find it interesting that, again, they ousted Liz Cheney for doing the right thing. But not only is Matt Gaetz still in hot water, still have all this smoke around him, he's not the only Republican right now that amazingly still is in the party. I mean, there's still another one. Marjorie Taylor Greene, which now a video is coming out, and you thought, her attacking a black politician, her talking about QAnon, her spouting, Donald Trump was stolen election because that's what every Republican's doing these days. She does this to another politician, and I'm still wondering how she's not kicked out of office yet.
The dignity of a person serving in the Congress of the United States, and is a cause for trauma and fear among members, especially on the heels of an insurrection on which the minority in the committee yesterday denied ever happened.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi suggesting the House Ethics Committee should look into Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene for her alleged verbal assault of Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in the halls of the U.S. Capitol complex. A since-deleted Facebook Live post from 2019, preserved by CNN's K-File, shows this week's incident isn't actually the first time that Greene has targeted Ocasio-Cortez. Let's listen.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I'm an American citizen. I pay your salary through the taxes that you collect from me through the IRS. I'm a woman, I'm a female business owner, and I'm proud to be an American woman. And I do not support your socialist policies. If you want to be a big girl, you need to get rid of your diaper and come out and be able to talk to the American citizens instead of us having to use a flap, a little flap.
It's kind of like hers. It's kind
sad.
Let's talk about this now with Virginia Democratic Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger, who is a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
What is your response, Congresswoman, to what is clearly a pattern here, and most recently Marjorie Taylor Greene verbally accosting and running after your colleague, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, in the halls of Congress?
Well, Brianna, I think we have to look at it within the context of the interview you just had. You had Officer Dunn recounting his experiences on January 6th, talking about what it continues to be like to work in a crime scene. And he said, we're going to continue to do our job. It's our responsibility. We'll continue to do our job. And that level of decency and commitment and leadership is what we should expect of every person who works in the United States Capitol, members of Congress, Capitol Police, and staff across the board. And for a representative of Virginia, where we're dealing with the crisis caused by the Colonial Pipeline ransomware attack, where my constituents are worried, deeply worried about how to get to work and how to get their kids to school. And in the middle of an ongoing pandemic, though there's bright light at the end of the tunnel, the fact that there would be a legislator focused on taunting and harassing another member of Congress when we should be governing and demonstrating the leadership like Officer Dunn demonstrated in his interview and certainly demonstrated on the day of the insurrection.
Now, again, guys, this isn't surprising. Marjorie Taylor Greene, again, you guys have to remember, has been stripped of her congressional duties by the House, but unfortunately, because She is a Republican. The only way that she can be removed is that Kevin McCarthy, the House Minority Leader, would have to bring it to a vote and basically get her removed. So this just adds up to the fact of, wait a minute. So you're telling me a woman who's a Republican can turn around and harass another politician? Because that's not the first time she's done it. There was a black politician that was also a woman that she did this to. But it's funny that she tried this with I can't remember the black woman's name, the black representative's name to save my life right now. But that actually happened last year, or a little bit late last year. Actually, yeah, it happened a little bit late last year, where Marjorie Taylor Greene did interfere with the person's staff, and they weren't having it. It got to the point where they had to move them. They had actually moved their offices from the Capitol just because, I have been saying this, these folks get bold until they run into the wrong one. And trust me, that day is coming where she's going to run into the exact wrong one. But this is the point I'm making. I mean, the Republican Party, this is the reason why you guys can't be taken seriously, aside from the fact that you just hate women and minorities. Yes, I said it. Try to prove me wrong. But the simple fact of the matter is that you have one representative that's harassing others for, for extreme right reasons, and I do mean extreme conservative views. She said there and said, I'm a woman, I'm a business owner, I'm proud to be an American. That's it's honestly supremacy dressed up as nationalism is what that is. But you have her, and then you have Matt Gaetz, who again is using his power and influence to allegedly mess with underage women. These two people are somehow still within the party, and I'm like, wait a minute. These two individuals are still within your party, but yet the one person who decides to do the right thing about Trump is removed, and the sole reason, her only sin out of this whole thing is that she went against the president. Say what you want about the Republican Party, they toe the party line, but at the same time, you go against them, it is like the mob. They all turn their backs on you. So again, that's it's not surprising, but it's also scary that so many conservatives are still calling themselves conservatives after seeing this mess. Even though I keep telling you guys, you don't think Donald Trump is still around. Yes, he might not be on social media, thank you, Black Jesus, but at the same time, yes, he's still around. And it's so much more that he still controls the Republican Party. And at the same time, you don't think that 2024, if he's not in jail before 2024, you can best believe there's a presidential run coming. Because he likes the presidential seat. It gave him power. It gave him shielding. It really allowed him to make more money. Because trust and believe, he fleeced the American public. He only stayed at his hotel in Mar-a-Lago, which he owns. But the funny part was, we paid him to go home. Secret Service detail had a budget out the yin-yang because they had to protect him at his own hotel. So it's all said and done, Trump fleeced us, as any con man would. And the scary thing about this is, in 2 years, in almost 3 years from now, I thought it was 2022, in 3 years from now, do not be surprised if Donald Trump wants to run again. And we should all be very concerned, because the first time we thought it was a joke, and he actually won. Now we need to take him seriously. But moving right along, guys, I did want to go ahead and go into the next story of Andre Hill. And of course, if you don't remember this, I am going to play the video from back then. So I do want to let everybody know before this video is actually played. Yes, it is very graphic, so viewer discretion is advised.
There's a vehicle out front of my house, right beside of my house, in the street on a curve. It's been out there earlier this evening running, then they shut it off. Now it's back running again. It's been about a half hour.
Put your hands out to the side. Hands out to the side now. Roll to your stomach now. Yeah. Hey, don't get close. I can't see his hand. Get your hand up from underneath you now. We got a medic coming.
Yesterday, I called on Chief Quinlan to relieve Coy of duty, stripping him of his badge, gun, and police powers. After further review of the incident, today, I am calling for the immediate termination of Coy. Clearly, not having the cameras turned on, not rendering aid are two of the major issues. And that was not done just by one officer, but multiple officers. The refusal or inability, unwillingness to render aid. Clearly, we have a problem that we need to address.
Now, I wanted to sit there and tell that. Now, of course, that's the video from Andre Hill. Now, of course, what has actually recently happened is that, as you can see at the top, that the city of Columbus, Ohio has reached a $10 million settlement with the family of Andre Hill. Andre Hill, for all those that don't remember, was the man in the video that just had a cell phone up and the officer shot at him, who, again, former Officer Coy, believed that Andre Hill had a gun, and as you can tell from the actual video that you guys saw, and it sat there and said and quoted that no gun was found at the scene. Now, of course, the murder charge that Coy has been indicted with, that case has yet to be arraigned. But this is typical standard procedure, guys, when it comes to these type of things, just because of the fact of the matter that wrongful death suits usually do follow in police-involved shootings. This one is definitely similar to George Floyd. Has guilty written all over it, but again, we still have to follow the due process. And then again, the court still has to, I guess, arrange a court date. At the same time, a jury has to be selected and appointed for this case. Now, again, this is the part where I say it goes back into these police shootings that make no sense. And at the same time, it's the reason why we say police reform is needed. This is the reason why defund the police is popular. This is the reason why we keep saying that something needs to be done about law enforcement. You guys have heard me say this many times in this podcast. You can be a law enforcement officer faster than you can be a hairstylist, faster than you can be a nail technician, faster than you can be a master plumber, electrician, or contractor, because those take at least 1.5 years to be certified. A police officer only takes 6 months. Now, you guys sit there and tell me within 6 months you're going to trust somebody to protect and serve out there, especially with the fact that they have a loaded handgun and treat every minority as a hostile assailant? No, I'm sorry, but no. Even more so as we move forward in the Ahmaud Arbery case, what's actually going on from there? And forgive you guys, I didn't actually switch over yet, but. A judge in the case has sat there and said that he wants to review Ahmaud Arbery's mental health records. "Quote unquote," a Georgia judge on Thursday said he wants to review Ahmaud Arbery's mental health records in private to determine if he will allow them to be used at the trial of 3 white defendants accused of tracking down the 25-year-old black man and shooting him to death. Let me repeat that sentence again. A Georgia judge on Thursday says he wants to review Ahmaud Arbery's mental health records in private to determine if he will allow them to be used at the trial of 3 white defendants accused of tracking down a 25-year-old black man and shooting him to death. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out, because here's what I sat there and said, guys. And in cases like this, because from personal experience, I've seen this happen, where whenever a black person has been killed, character assassination happens. Now, for all those who don't know what for all those who know what character assassination is, it is a defense lawyer tactic where you basically try to discredit the plaintiff however you can, through financial records, if they had issues with money, through their criminal record, if they've had breaking, entering, assault, or any of their harder charges. That's called character assassination, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to ruin the record so much that the crime that has been put on the defendant looks minor, or basically as some lawyers would love to say, that it basically extenuates to the crime itself, somehow making it justified. And the one thing they try to do the same thing with George Floyd. You guys got to remember, the same thing happened with George Floyd. They try to sit there and use his previous record they try to use his previous arrest record against Derek Chauvin. They try to sit there and say, well, he's had this, he's had that. Okay, did it lead up to him getting his neck stuck? Did it lead on him getting a knee on his neck while in a prone position, while on his stomach for nearly 9 minutes? Does his previous record have anything to do with the way he was killed? Of course not. This is the caveat, because keep in mind, they are now, all 3 men that had a hand in killing Ahmaud Arbery are facing federal hate crimes. Now, for all those that don't know, federal hate crimes carry a life in prison sentence. And these 3 white men are doing everything they can to make sure to avoid life in prison. So, with that being said, the judge, again, I don't know why, aside from the judge, it's almost like he's helping out the defense, really. Because the defense was the first ones to request this. The judge is now saying, well, I need to review his mental health records before I can allow it. Okay, even if you did allow it, let's play devil's advocate here. Even if you did allow Ahmaud Arbery's mental health records, to be released and used in a court case, what does it have to do with the fact that 3 white men tracked and killed this young man? His mental health status? I don't get it. Because this is, like I said, I can understand from the defense attorneys them trying to use this, but the judge actually entertaining this mess? That's something else. But again, this is character assassination at its best. They realize that, honestly, everybody has seen the video, much like George Floyd. Everybody's seen the video. You'll find very few people that have not seen the video of the man recording Ahmaud Arbery and watching the father and the son, both attack Arbery, shooting him and killing him. So everybody at this point has seen the video. You'd be very hard pressed to find a person who could play as a juror who hasn't seen it. But again, the evidence is their own doing. The evidence that they have is their own recording. So they have to have something out there to sit there and suggest that and again, this is the defense attorney. The defense attorney has to find something out there to muddy the water, because right now it's not looking good for his clients. And to sit there and say that to insinuate that his mental health would have anything to do with it is beyond asinine. But they will still try it. But moving right along, guys, I did want to go ahead and get into one other story from the GOP, because like I said, they outed Liz Cheney and they've elected a Trump stooge, if you will.
Breaking news for you. House Republicans have chosen Congresswoman Elise Stefanik to replace Representative Liz Cheney's position in GOP leadership. Cheney was ousted earlier this week due to criticism of President Trump and his false election claims. I want to bring in congressional correspondent Rachel Scott, ABC News Deputy Political Director Avery Harper, and former Republican Congresswoman and ABC News contributor Barbara Comstock for a little bit more on all of this. Rachel, what do we know so far about how this vote went down?
Overwhelming vote. Elise Stefanik now confirmed as the House GOP conference chair, 134 to 46, the final tally for her. And news, let me tell you, it spreads pretty fast because former President Donald Trump has already weighed in. He says congratulations to Elise Stefanik for her big and overwhelming victory. The House GOP is united, he says, and the Make America Great Again movement is strong again. So the role here for this conference chair position is all about messaging. And so this was about getting the leadership all on the same page. Of course, you had Congresswoman Liz Cheney. She spoke out against the former president. They want to make sure that they have a positive message, a united message ahead of the midterm elections. And so that was a pretty clear indicator. Trump endorsed Stefanik even before Cheney was ousted from leadership. And now she is the top Republican woman there in the House, Diane.
So, Avery, what is the message this vote sends? Because it seems like for at least Republicans, it's support Donald Trump or else. But what message are they trying to send to the American people with this?
Right. I really think that this illustrates the vice grip that former President Trump continues to have on the Republican Party. Even though there were many concerns about Elise Stefanik and just how conservative she was, we have seen, through that vote, that members have fallen in line with the wishes of Donald Trump. This is his party. He continues to be the leader of this party. And, that vote really sends the message that, there's not room for others to get in there and have their own opinions. You need to align with Donald Trump, or this Republican Party might not be for you.
And so I want to go to Barbara on that, because, Barbara, this is your party. You've supported the Republican Party your whole political career, but you did not support Donald Trump. So now what happens to Republicans like you?
Well, there were a lot of us, which is why Donald Trump lost, and he's the sorest of losers. He only got 46.9, the second time he didn't get the popular vote, and now he's shrinking that. So even if demographically Republicans can work out to get that majority in 2022, the problem is if that encourages Trump, they're going to again lash themselves to a toxic candidate who cannot get a majority of Americans.
Yes, because that's all the setup is. All the setup is that we're going to out, and again, this is me telling you guys, this is the Trump playbook. This is how he's trying to get to. And it's not just him. It just goes to show you. That how well the Republican Party right now is trying to set up to where Trump can come back. Because you don't believe me, there is actually another article I read out there that I didn't actually get in time for this podcast. There's another article out there right now because the New York district attorney is wrapping up his proceedings to where indictments may be handed out, and they actually in Florida are trying to figure out how to shield Donald Trump. I wish I could make this up. They are trying to shield Donald Trump from not being summoned from Florida back to New York for these indictments. If there is anything about this that should be alarming to you, is how much the Republican Party is bending over backwards for this former disgrace of a president. Because I have said this and said this, even when Donald Trump was president, that the Republican Party, when he was president, was Christmas for them. Keep in mind, the Democrats had the House, but if anything has shown us from the last 4 years, that it's better to have the Senate, it's better to have a Senate majority, and it's better to have the presidency. Because for a lot of these things, the Democrats did fight, and there was a lot of things sometimes the Democrats did concede on, which I wish they didn't. Because Mitch McConnell would love nothing more to be the majority Senate leader again. And trust me, We don't need that. We don't need another person who's going to be Trump's personal wall when he left so many thousands of bills unheard of because he never allowed them to hit the Senate floor and be voted on. So with this other person who was basically a Trump stooge is now allowed to come in and take Liz Cheney's spot, which is the number 3 person in the Republican Party, which is still a very important position. But now she has the ability to go ahead and influence many other things that are going on right now. And that alone should tell you guys off the bat how concerned we really need to be. And that's the truth. We need to be heavily concerned because they are trying to set this up. They have 2024 in their sights, and I cannot make this up. How alarming it really is that we should all not be paying attention because they are trying their hardest to make that happen. Just saying. Moving right along, a quick flip about this, guys. I did want to talk about the shortage, the gas shortage, and as of just yesterday, Colonial Pipeline did actually confirm that they are back up and running. So services, especially gas pumps, should be back to normal sometime between Sunday and Monday. There's already been a decrease in gas demands. Keep in mind, guys, this was just 48 hours. 48 hours. Do you guys actually remember? And I know it ain't been that long, but it's just like, remember when I actually talked about this on the midweek review on Wednesday, where I sat there and said about a possible, all they said was possible gas shortage. Possible. Wasn't real, wasn't happening. They said a possible gas shortage due to a ransomware attack at Colonial Pipeline, which services almost more than half of the Eastern Seaboard. And I just remember, because again, I live in the state of Tennessee. I love Tennessee, but red states. But again, when that news came out, so many individuals panicked. Oh, we have to hurry up and get gas. Gas is going to run out. And again, guys, I have been saying this so many times that there needs to be thinking before action. For example, I sat there and said, if you mention on a news story that there's a possible shortage, or someone hears something and goes, you guys need to hurry up, you need to get this gas because we're going to run out. And then you have all these individuals go running to gas stations trying to pump gas. And these gas stations, although profit has been good, are bone dry. Which means that what? You went from a possible shortage to a guaranteed shortage. And that alone made no sense. The simple fact of the matter is, you basically caused a situation to happen that didn't need to happen. And so now that we're getting back to normal on the gas side of things, this honestly just made me think. This honestly just really made me think of the simple fact of the matter that we as an American people need to stop panicking at the very first sign of danger. There sometimes needs to be thought before action, because sometimes action leads to worse situations. Like, I almost want to sit there and say, I wish they never mentioned a possible shortage, because you're going to find those individuals who are going to go out there and say, hurry up guys, go and get out this gas. And if you've been on Facebook or your social media, you've seen the pictures, people taking multiple gas cans, people taking those huge block containers that usually contain water or other chemicals and using them to hold gasoline. You've seen even plastic bags. Yes, plastic bags that folks were using to pump gasoline in. I mean, it was, if Idiocracy was anything, sometimes it's more of a revelation than it is a movie. It's intended to be a funny movie. But again, guys, I keep saying this all the time. We don't need to panic. We need to move forward and actually be progressive, but also be thinking. Think before you act, because you can actually prevent a situation from getting worse if you think about it before you do anything. That's everything in life. But moving right along, guys, I did actually want to cover this next story. Again, that just recently been released about a man who was in confinement that was actually killed by jailers. And again, guys, this video is graphic, so viewer discretion is advised.
Get down, Sutherland! Get down on the ground! Get down, Sutherland! Get down!
Control 37E, SMU, 37E,
Turn on your stomach! Turn on your stomach! Turn on your stomach! Hey, you're gonna get another one! Come to the door! Slide to the door! Slide to the door! Get on your stomach, slide to the door! Stay on your stomach! I can't stand up. Stay on your stomach! Slide! Come to the door! I got it. Slide! Keep sliding! Keep sliding! Keep sliding!
I got it.
Keep sliding! Come on, Sutherland! Keep going! Keep coming! Sutherland! Keep moving! Keep sliding! Let me down. No, stay down! And slide! Stay down and slide!
What's the meaning of this?
Keep coming! Keep coming! Hey, turn over on your stomach! Turn on your stomach! Turn on your stomach! Turn on your stomach!
For what?
Turn on your stomach!
As far as I'm turning.
Keep going! No. Oh, undo it, get everything, because you still got clothes.
As far as I'm turning.
You gotta resist!
I'm not resisting officer.
Stop, you still got clothes in you. Loosen up. Loosen up.
Officer.
Hey!
Now, again, that story is just now breaking, as that actually did happen not too long ago. Which now that these two officers that were involved have been placed on administrative leave by their commander. But again, it brings up the fact that this man was tasered multiple times, and that may have acuted to his death after, as you saw in the video, they tried nearly 1 hour of 1 hour trying to revive the guy. I never can say certain words. 1 hour trying to revive the gentleman, and of course he died. So now that the officers' actions are being looked into to see whether or not they are responsible for this man's death, which is an obvious, yeah. Again, the guy got tasered multiple times. Now, if anybody has ever been on the wrong end of a taser or a stun gun, trust me, electrical currents going through your body multiple times, yes, electrical currents can stop your heart. They also can restart them. But again, if you are tasered multiple times and that triggers a heart attack or triggers your heart to stop, then yes, that just goes to show you that even in that situation, I mean, granted, we're seeing the video from the officer's body cam. This was a guy who was receiving mental health. And at the same time, he was on the floor. His back was, I mean, he had his back to the officer. He was sitting in the seated position and his handcuffed behind his back. I'm still trying to figure out the need for all the multiple tasing. That's just me. Like, he wasn't a threat. He wasn't resisting from the video. So why the need to multiple tase him? So again, it is sad that another man has lost his life, because I still think it's at the criminal negligence of officers who go for the even though tasers are considered quote unquote non-lethal, they can be lethal if used beyond the recommended amount. But I'm sorry, at this point there was no need that, and from the video that was seen, there was no need for the officer to tase the man multiple times. But again, that's going to be one of those stories that we're going to be watching and seeing on whether or not they go forward with this. It's just going to be interesting to see what they do. The other story, the last story I got, guys, before we wrap this up and go to our feel-good version, is the federal arraignment for the 3 ex-cops. Now, keep in mind, Derek Chauvin has already been charged and found guilty of second and third degree murder. He has also now been indicted on federal rights charges, and because of that, the other 3 officers who are also charged in the crime are also scheduled to be arraigned on federal civil rights violation charges in July. Now, for a lot of those that are probably wondering what this means, this is the reason why their initial case surrounding their aiding and abetting and being an accomplice to second degree murder, because they haven't got the third degree murder charges reinstated. So those 3 officers, which they are not pictured here, but those 3 officers are actually about to get 2 cases. Now, for all those who are wondering what that means, that basically means that, of course, their original case in which they're going to be tried for second-degree murder, being accomplices to second-degree murder, that will happen in August. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, federal cases do take precedent. So even though the trial was pushed back, the original trial was pushed back for August, they do have to finish off the federal case, which is actually scheduled for July. So that's the reason for a lot of people wondering what's going on. It's because federal cases have to take precedent, and those have to be handled first. Now, again, if those 3 men are found on violating civil rights, and which can institute hate crimes, those crimes do carry a penalty of life in prison. Now, keep in mind, they are still, if they are indicted and found guilty of this, they still have another trial to go through, which again is the accomplice to second-degree murder death of George Floyd. They could see more increased jail time. Let's just be honest. We may not see life imprisonment for any of these officers. They may be doing it anywhere from 30 to 45 years, give or take. Although I truly believe that, if you take a life, then your life is forfeit. Let the punishment fit the crime, so to speak. But again, we will follow that story as it develops. I just wanted to go ahead and give a quick understanding of why, because some people will sit there and say, well, they're trying to defend the officers. No, even though the officers were found in the wrong, we still have to follow the due process. We still have to give a fair and open trial to everybody, even though the evidence is overwhelmingly against them and showing them guilty. But we still have to follow the process going from there. But that's all the news that we have, so we're going to go ahead and get into the feel-good segment. Like I usually say on How the Frack We Got Here, we do cover a lot of stuff, sometimes good, sometimes bad, sometimes really, really bad. But it's the weekend. It's actually sunny here in Tennessee. Hopefully it's sunny where you are. And again, I know the world is slightly trying to open up. And, if you can still go outside, enjoy the sunshine, with a mask, whether or not you want to, it's completely your choice. But just try to get out there and enjoy the world. And hopefully these stories will, put some spring in your step, restore your faith in humanity and all that good stuff. And we'll start with the first one, which again, I actually like.
Turn now to a program that's giving some special children a sense of freedom in the water. CBS's Janet Shamlian has their story.
2, 1, go! On the surface, they're just swim lessons. But in each lane of this pool, a life is changing.
Big arms, Grant.
He just loves it, and he gets so excited.
Good job. Laura Marshall says her 18-year-old son, Grant, is nonverbal and severely autistic. In the water, he's an athlete tasting success.
It's just something you never thought would happen, and it's happening.
These are the Nashville Dolphins, people with a variety of challenges, learning to swim and swimming competitively. Brenda Vroon runs the program.
The families of these children are used to hearing no, and they can't.
Yes.
But you tell them something else.
We tell them that they can, and we know they can. Just to see the things that they can do, it's really amazing. High five.
More than 100 volunteers teach for free, helping families often financially burdened with multiple therapies and doctors. For swimmers like Grant, an experience for which there is no price.
It gives them a sense of normalcy. It gives them peers and friends.
What does it give you?
It gives me joy.
Coming for a life-saving skill, staying for so much more. Janet Shamlian, CBS News, Nashville.
Now again, I love stories like that because again, no child, no matter what's going on with them, is great in their own opinion, and they should be celebrated as such. And being in Nashville, there are multiple programs out like programs like that. So again, there's nothing wrong with those situations. It's just one of those things where I just love to celebrate those programs, because if you're interested about that, yes, the Nashville Dolphins is still here and they are still taking on individuals and children. So if you are definitely for that, then it is definitely open. And I just love stories like that, to where they actually give back and actually help individuals really in that situation. Even more so, like I said, kids have it figured out way faster than adults. And in this case, this 8-year-old boy, which again I talked about again in this week, I definitely want to go ahead and celebrate again, because the kid just gets it.
Americans look to Washington for leadership. Well, and we found it, along with compassion from an unexpected source. Here's CBS's Chris Van Cleve.
In the shadow of a symbol of American accomplishment sits a park lined with tents that most in the nation's capital choose to forget.
We got Chick-fil-A tonight.
But not 8-year-old Zoheb Beg. Along with homeless advocate Sharon Wise, the Virginia third grader is handing out donated meals and care packages of socks, masks, and toiletries.
It doesn't matter how old you are, you can help someone.
So many people drive by these folks every day and don't stop. What made you want to stop?
Because they don't really have a lot of stuff like we do, so I really want to help them.
When we first met Beg last April, he was collecting shower caps, gloves, and masks from local hotels for the hospital staff that saved him from a tumor when he was 4. How much stuff did you get?
6,009 PPEs.
Now, Zoheb, who calls himself the Chief Kindness Officer, is expanding his efforts. And inspiring friends and neighbors to help too, filling bags of essentials for the homeless and families with sick children staying at D.C.'s Ronald McDonald House. All of it, Beg got companies to donate.
You just have to find a problem and find one solution.
A big idea from a little boy with an even bigger heart.
Thank you.
Chris Van Cleve, CBS News.
Again, kids just have it figured out. They really, really do. I mean, the fact that an 8-year-old just wanted to help people and, do the thing that we as adults should be doing. Now, I admit there's many more levels to it, but to sit there and see that type of giving and that type of selflessness in a child, that kid's gonna go places. And I just love stories like that, to where I said kids have it figured out, to where we as adults sometimes we either forget or we just we get cold. The world changes us, let's be honest. The last story I got, guys, is definitely a interesting one about the feel good segment, I should say. And let me switch to it. So this high school senior here, Missouri high school senior, donates his college savings after landing prestigious scholarship. Mr. Nelson landed a full ride to Southeast Missouri State University. Now he wants to use his savings that he gave to give another student a chance to go. Now, he was already awarded a $43,000 scholarship, which covers his tuition and boarding for his 4 years. I always love that. So they say, well, this, it will cover his tuition in 4 years as long as he meets the annual renewal criteria. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm just saying that part has always thrown me off. But anyway, what he decided to do, he actually had $1,000 that he saved for college that he wants to donate to another student. And he says, quote unquote, I feel like it's important to be involved in the community and leaving a legacy, which through a local nonprofit organization, decided to start the scholarship in his name, which aims to help multicultural students who are showing leadership, community service, and just have great qualities in and out the classroom. Now, of course, they go on to show about this man, and he should be definitely respected for that he's held many leadership roles, engaging other students in need, president of the school's Multicultural Achievement Council, a member of the National Honor Society, the National Society of Black Engineers, and the Black Student Union. And all I gotta say is, sir, salute. Because he is an inspiration. I mean, quote unquote, I think he's an inspiration to some of the people of this school, especially students of color. I don't even think he realized he's doing that much for everyone else as well. And though they did say that Mr. Nelson will begin his undergraduate studies this fall at Southeast Missouri, he'll be enrolled in the biomedical sciences program. He's planning on continuing his education as he pursues a career in optometry. dude, I love stories like this, and that's actually the individual right there. And again, I cannot stress this enough. Not only just as a black man, I just love to see, and this might be biased, call me biased. I love seeing black people succeed. I love seeing kids succeed. I love seeing, good things happen, great things happen for good people. I love that. I love seeing good people do things for others who are less fortunate. That gives me hope. That makes me happy. And again, this is what we need in the world. Not only just those type of good people, we also need random acts of kindness. I have been saying this. Yes, I might sound corny as all get out in saying it, but I'm gonna sound corny as all get out as I'm saying it. We do need random acts of kindness out there. It's a cold world. Let's be honest. But the way we make it less cold is that if one of us does one thing, and I have been saying this, and I will not stop saying this at the end of this podcast, if you have the ability to change somebody's day, to change their mood, to change their life, to change anything about them, they may be having the crappiest day ever. If you, doesn't have to be monetary, doesn't have to be gift giving, if you have the ability to make somebody's day better, do it. The world could use more of it. That's the reason why I love doing those feel good segments, because you know why? I hope it inspires you in the same way it inspires me. So, with that being said, guys, that's really all that we have for this podcast. I do thank everybody that liked, that shared, that watched this. And I know there wasn't any comments today. I know there wasn't a lot to comment, but come on, it's early Saturday morning. If I expect somebody to comment early Saturday morning, I'm going to be wondering why they're up. Saturday's supposed to be a lazy day. So, again, this is all information. This is all what I love to do, what I love to talk about. So again, I know I'll get comments every now and then. That is fine. Not harping on that. But again, this is all for the information of getting you informed the right way. So before I do get out of here, the link at the bottom, if you copy and paste that into your browser, will take you to my link tree, which will basically take you to if I can find words, that'd be great. We'll take you to my YouTube and Facebook groups for all my podcasts, How the Frack We Got Here, Get Bit, and the Off Limits Podcast. All of those do have the links there, so you can definitely you can definitely share, and I hope you subscribe, especially to let me know that that you're liking the show, and if you like it, that's great. If not, hey, tell me why you don't like it. I'm just trying to make these platforms for everybody to enjoy and discuss and really get to know each other. That's the whole point. Beyond that, guys, I do want to talk about my buddy Big VZA Dot, who also shared this podcast along with others. I do thank you for that. But he is my podcasting brother in arms. And definitely check his page out at Big VZA Dot on Facebook, where he has several shows of his own, the VSTs, RAF, and Rhythmness. But definitely check him out and like, share, subscribe from that one. And be on the lookout for his social media at Big VZA Dot to see when he'll be going live with the shows again, which I believe this Sunday he will be starting off with the VSTs. Beyond that, guys, I do still, handle travel. So if you guys are looking to travel, especially with the world opening up right now, definitely look me up, William Buchanan on Facebook, or Uncle Obi's Travels, Adventures, and More, my Facebook page. And I will go from there as far as helping you get to where you want to get to, because that's the whole thing about it, guys. I basically, like I said before, me being a workaholic, the reason why I got into travel was to actually see more of the world. I was always that guy that, worked for 80 hours, then spent 24 hours trying to forget about those 80 hours, only to go right back to those 80 hours and never really giving myself time to relax, to unwind, to avoid burnout. And so that's why I got into travel, because there's still places I want to see. There's still beaches and oceans I love to see. And I want to help you do the same thing. I want you to get that little bit of vacation, because a brother got dreams. Like, I want to be on a boat. Like, I've told my girlfriend many times, we are going to go on a boat. I've never been on a Carnival cruise boat. I hear it's fun. I hear, they always tell me about the motion sickness, but I'm like, okay, I'll still be on a boat. But again, if you're like me and you need to, as much as we grind, as much as we work, you want to stop and smell the roses. And that's what I want to do. I want to help people do that and enjoy themselves. So definitely give me a shot. Definitely look me up there if you want to do exactly that. Now, the last thing I'll say, guys, like I said, with COVID-19 still being out there, yes, a good number of us are vaccinated, but also a very good number of us are not. Even though the CDC is saying that you as vaccinated people can go anywhere without mask, I would say still be cautious, be preventative, and use your head. Because again, you may be vaccinated, but you don't know if the individual out there may not be vaccinated themselves. So I'm not saying you should wear a mask. I will still wear a mask when I'm going out and about because, yeah, the honor system and Americans, let's not roll that dice. I'm just saying your health ain't worth rolling the dice. I would still say wear a mask until the numbers increase and things improve, and then go from there. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being vigilant. I recommend that wholeheartedly. So, with also that being said, guys, before I do get out of here, how the Frack We Got Here is all about staying informed. This podcast was created to basically be like news stations of old. We're not out here to change minds. We're not here to persuade you. We are simply out here to inform you, and allow you to, by informing you means that we basically present all the facts to you and allow you to make up your own mind, because we do better as a society when we're informed. I mean, when we're not informed, we get Trump. When we're informed, we actually can elect our first Madam Vice President who is black and actually get this country back to where we need to be, hopefully in a progressive way. So, with that being said, guys, thank you all for watching. If you watch this live, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And if you watch this on the playback and comment, feel free, because I still want to know you guys' opinions on a lot of things that were said today. Aside from that, take care of each other, and we'll get through this. I'm out. Peace.